latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. I brought you this story a few weeks back. All this talk about city-run grocery stores. BLM Brandon wanted to open one, promised to open one to address the food desert situation on the south and west side. Open some city of Chicago operated grocery store. Sounds like a good idea. Hasn't happened yet. Still working it up, I guess. And, of course, Mamdani in New York, the soon-to-be mayor of New York City, that he's made that part of his platform as well. But I mentioned there's real-world examples of this. It's been tried. No new ideas out there. Tried in Kansas City, a grocery store called Sunfresh that's operated by the city. The city spent $17 million to acquire and redevelop Sunfresh. Opened in 2018, then a city-sponsored nonprofit took it over. Earlier this year, City Council approved an ordinance for the nonprofit to receive $161,000 in rent relief and $750,000 in expedited funding so it could remain open. And mentioned to some of the video, the local reporting on this, these shelves were not exactly stocked. The ordinance also authorized the city attorney to pay $450,000 to settle claims between the city and the nonprofit that runs the grocery store. So, boy, that's a lot of city support after spending $18 million to acquire and redevelop it, and throwing bad money after bad money to try to keep it open. Well, now it's closed. It's closed, and some residents are understandably not happy with that.
I don't understand. We need this store. We do.
Alicia Batson shopped here on Monday and was going to come back here for groceries today. As soon as our interview was done, she started to cry. Part of the reason why she was so emotional may be because of what she told us in the first 30 seconds of our conversation.
What are we supposed to do as a community? Where am I going to go now? Where am I going to go get stuff for my kids?
While I appreciate the plight of that woman in Kansas City, this is a real opportunity for a bit of a lesson in economics, isn't it? For lessons in economics, we're pleased to be joined by our very own Henry Hazlitt. He is Stephen Moore, economist, author of The Trump Economic Miracle and the Plan to Unleash Prosperity Again, co-authored with the great Art Laffer. Steve, Kansas city-run grocery store didn't work out. What a surprise.
Well, look, I have a solution to this whole problem. It's really very simple. We can't have people going hungry in this country. Food should just be free.
Yeah,
just make it free.
Well, I agree. That would solve a lot of problems. Exactly.
So they do. By the way, we've had a great experiment in the last 100 years in free grocery store. In government-run grocery stores, and that's called the Soviet Union. And the stuff was cheaper. You just had to wait an hour and a half in line to get your bread.
Yeah, if there was any left by the time the line, you wound your way through the line. I mean, the point here, too, is to say, well, what you'll hear from the left is, private businesses fail, too. Yeah, they do. Except when they fail, the damage is localized. It's not socialized. It's not borne by everybody who wasn't party to the deal in the first place. That's the issue.
Well, this is a really interesting point you're making because, as you know, I'm a huge supporter of school choice. Every parent in America, regardless of their skin color or income, should have a variety of choices where they send their kids to school. And that should include private schools. And so anytime a private school fails, and that happens sometimes, a private school starts up and then it doesn't make it. And so it fails. Aha, you see? Look at that school. It went out of business. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Yeah. You've got 30 schools, completely horrible schools in Chicago that don't teach anybody anything, and they should fail. They should go out of business, but only in government do we keep these schools open, even though they're completely failing the kids. So that's how the market works. You know, if you succeed and you provide a service that people want, you stay in business, and if you don't go out of business. The only thing that never goes out of business is government stores and government schools, because we keep giving more money.
Oh, in this case, even the lack of bottom line sensitivity, they still got tired of operating this dog, and apparently they couldn't keep the stock shelved, and they couldn't keep the residents satisfied, with few exceptions. But it's just you just wish there were people to intercede here and explain, have a town hall perhaps, and say that there's a reason here, and to that woman who is distraught over the grocery store closing. Yeah, the reason there's not a grocery store here is because of the people you support and the policies they implement. I mean, if you had a safe environment that was attractive to invest in, then there would be a store here.
The other irony of this whole story, and look, it is true that in a lot of inner cities there are food deserts. That's thanks to crime and thanks to the fact that they can't keep the neighborhoods, up. So the stores move out. But whenever, and some of these neighborhoods, like in D.C. where I live, they want to bring in a Safeway, or they want to bring in a Whole Foods. Oh, no. That's going to drive our little corner grocery store out of business. We can't have that.
Right.
So we can't win with these people.
No, I mean, that's what we have here. Walmart, the city council tried to keep Walmart out of Chicago forever. Finally, we were able to cut a deal to get them in. And then when Walmart's going to close a store, how dare you close a store? I mean, it's just central planning. An interesting data point I wanted to get your reaction to, because may have some impact on changing minds and attitudes about liberal arts educations. Not that that's a bad thing, but the way it's practiced by most of these colleges, it's not a good thing. Anyway, the new DOJ information, Department of Labor information, and it's not the Bureau of Labor Statistics, I don't think, until at least the new guy EJ gets in there. But anyway, the average salary of a college graduate who completes an undergraduate degree, $69,000. An average salary of a person who completes a registered apprenticeship, $80,000. Interesting.
Yeah. Now, look, I mean, anybody with a skill in this country, we have about 7 million open jobs. The problem is these college graduates don't have the skills to fill these jobs. So go figure. You spend $200,000, you get a degree in sociology or psychology, and nobody wants to hire you. And so we need to have a system, maybe, I don't know how this would work, Dan, but where I believe incentives matter. That's why I'm an economist. So how about this system? Like, if the kids get a degree in, say, sociology, and then 5 years later they can't get a job, and they can't pay their student loan, the school should pay for that deficit, not the taxpayer.
Yeah.
What a concept. I mean, let's reward people and schools for giving out degrees and where you can actually get a job, and not, And by the way, I have a liberal arts education myself. I don't know about you. You probably do too. I'm not against the liberal arts education, but we also need to give people. I mean, we just have something on our hotline today. The average eighth grader can't pass a civics test. They don't know anything about how our government works. They don't know anything about the founding of our country. Here we have, this is the 250th anniversary coming up, and most eighth graders have no idea.
Yeah, well, and partly because they're being taught by people like Brandon Johnson, who used to teach social studies in 7th grade. That's not helping any.
Well, that's another issue, Dan. Social studies, when you and I were kids, we didn't have social studies. We had American history.
Yeah, right.
What is social studies?
I don't know. It's right. It's all the sort of Howard Zinning of American education.
How those wonderful communities in Africa are doing. That's social studies.
I wanted to get your reaction as well to Trump suggesting that Goldman Sachs fire their chief economist over his predictions or his analysis that American consumers are going to start paying for tariffs. They're having a bit of an inflationary impact.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't like that when Trump intervenes in these kinds of things. I think it's a bad idea, and so that makes me nervous. But I'm familiar with that study, by the way, and I don't agree with the findings of the study. By the way, it's Goldman Sachs; they always get things wrong. But we don't want we don't want the president telling private companies what they can say and what they can't say.
Something else. This litigation or investigation and potential litigation that's afoot in Florida, and also Chris Kobach in Kansas too, looking at these climate lawfare groups, the climate cartel as it's being called, the Climate Disclosure Project, the Science Based Targets Initiative, and looking at how they are essentially conspiring with private companies to dummy up climate-related and pollution-related data for the purposes of hamstringing the energy sector in this country, basically.
Yeah, this is happening throughout the country. I don't know. Well, first of all, this has been a big cabal, and it's been. Look, I've said this so many times on your show that what climate change really is, the green and climate change is not about the environment; it's about money. This is all about money, folks. And one of the biggest industries in America over the last 25 years has been the climate change industrial complex. This is a multi-hundred billion dollar industry. They don't want it to go away. They want that money to keep flowing. This money has nothing to do with changing the temperature of the planet. It's all about feeding this ecosystem that we've built up of people making a lot of money off of these scare tactics. And this is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, the Uthmeyer, the Attorney General in Florida, the investigation he's doing will examine deceptive trade practices and possible coordination between these climate change nonprofits, C4s, and financial services companies that could amount to market manipulation. And so, I mean, there may be some consumer fraud, anti-competitive practices, civil action taken against some of these, these climate lawfare, climate cartel, as it's being called, groups, which is investigation is certainly welcome.
Look, the conspiracy that's going on is that, and by the way, I think Illinois is probably one of these of all sorts of renewable energy requirements in your energy portfolios. I believe that's true. I think Illinois is one of those swing states that has these. Here, states like Illinois, New Jersey, New York, California require utilities to use up as much as 50% of their energy has to come from windmills and solar power. You guys pay twice as much for your utility bills. Did you know that? I live in Maryland. We just got our utility bill, Dan. We paid $1,000 last month because of these stupid renewable energy standards. We should be paying about half of that amount. So the wind and solar is so expensive. People go, oh, I love wind and solar. Do you like paying through the roof for your energy bill? I don't.
Well, I mean, another issue that you associated with this that I read about in your Unleash Prosperity newsletter is, smart grid. This sort of technological advancement, smart grid. It sounds wonderful until you get like World Economic Forum types and positions of authority. You talked about the CEO of the California utility, PG&E.
Yeah. Yep. This is a scary story. I mean, this is Orwellian. I didn't believe it checks out that this woman, the utilities in California, saying this is going to be a great future because pretty soon with the smart grid, we're going to be able to find. Oh, there's where Dan lives. Hey, he's got his temperature in his house at 68, 72 degrees. We're going to thermostat down a little bit. Hey, Dan's using his air conditioner too much today. We're gonna have to turn that off. You think I'm joking? I'm not, folks. This is the Orwellian future of these climate change people. They want to regulate the temperature of your house and tell you when you can and can't use your air conditioner
from central command.
But it's to save the planet. We're saving the planet here.
The good news is. Your energy bill will go down when they don't provide you any power. So you have that to look forward to.
Well, I've said many times on your show, and I'll say it again, that, folks, if you want to be protected from these wackos, you better have a generator in your house, because the electricity is going to go out if these people continue to run our grid system.
Stephen Moore, economist, author of The Trump Economic Miracle. Stephen, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Okay. See you, Dan.
See ya. Annie joins us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer. Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with focus.